Hi, I'm Silverpaw, and today I'm bringing you Chapter 2 of Detention, a Kingdom Hearts fanfiction. Axel's lips were softer than Roxas expected them to be, almost as if he used chapstick on a regular basis. He was a good kisser too, his lips fitting and moving against Roxas's perfectly. As the kiss grew bolder, Roxas's hand bunched in Axel's shirt to keep him close, and one of Axel's hands continued coming to bunch in his hair. Their mouths opened and Axel's tongue moved into the blonde's mouth, stroking boldly and exploring the space as if he did it every day. He tasted like a mix of big red gum and cigarettes, something that struck Roxas as odd and yet delicious. And it appeared that his tongue was also pierced. He didn't want the assault on his mouth to end though. Eventually Axel pulled away to breathe. He looked confused and slightly shocked. So? Roxas asked, admittedly dying of curiosity. Axel bit his lip ring, his eyes trained intently on Roxas. Well, I don't know. Maybe we should... Dude, you just voluntarily kissed another guy. You're gay. Straight guys don't kiss other guys. It just doesn't happen. Roxas informed him impatiently. Oh. Roxas hoped to God that he wouldn't have to guide Axel through the trauma of realizing he was gay, because he wasn't sure he had enough energy to do so. Another shock came over him when Axel just shrugged. Well, I guess that's it then, isn't it? He couldn't possibly be serious. Didn't he know how hard it was to live in Twilight Town when you're different? Didn't he realize that his life would be complete hell from now on? Axel let out a sigh, running a hand through his hair as he backed up to lean against his desk. Well, I don't understand. I mean, I've dated girls before. My dad's the most homophobic prick on the planet. How could this have happened to me? Ah, there it is. The inevitable breakdown, just a little delayed. Well, I've been suspecting it for a while now, but I never actually thought I was gay. His eyes widened a bit and his head snapped up so fast Roxas thought he might have broken his neck with the force. Oh shit, my dad's gonna kill me. I'm not even joking, he'll hang me in the backyard, vigilante style. Roxas rolled his eyes at the histrionic redhead. Do you have to be so melodramatic? Just don't tell him. Simple as that. His eyes lit up for a moment before becoming worried again. I don't want to hide who I am. I mean, I'd rather like being alive, but I don't want to live a lie. The blonde was growing impatient with the redhead's indecisions and obvious lack of intelligence. It's not really that difficult of a concept, Roxas snapped. Come out to your friends or whoever the hell it is you want to tell, but don't say anything to your father. Axel's grin returned full force. You're so smart, Roxy. Roxy? My name's Roxas, dumbass. I know, it's a nickname. Axel rolled his eyes as if the blonde was the stupidest being he'd ever set his eyes upon. You're not very nice, Roxy. You know that? Before Roxas had a chance to retort, there was the sound of a key scraping in the lock and the door opened. Zigbar popped his head into the room. Go home, he barked before striding off down the hall. Roxas hopped off the desk, throwing his bag over his shoulder, and started off down the hallway at a quick walk. Hey, Roxas, wait up a sec. He let out a deep breath and came to a stop. Make it quick, I've got to get home as fast as I can. He snapped, turning to look at the redhead loping down the hall towards him. Do you want to ride? He asked. I don't have anything better to do, and I figure I owe you something for helping me out earlier. Roxas thought about that for a second. Axel was offering a ride. He was late as it was, and Leon was going to kick his ass for it. What really did he have to lose? His dignity, perhaps, but it was too small. It was a small price to pay as compared to what Leon would do to him if he got home late. Yeah, okay, thanks. The redhead led him out of his car, a big black truck that made Roxas shudder when he thought about how much money it probably put into it per gas per week. Still, he didn't have to pay for gas, so who was he to complain? He stepped up inside the silver platform on the side and then pulled himself inside. The truck was big and comfortable on the inside, and when Axel started up the car, noise came screeching out of the speakers that made Roxas wince horribly. Sorry about that, the redhead said, hurriedly turning down the music. My sister was nagging me this morning. It's easier to, ignore her when I can't hear her screeches. Roxas nodded, feeling his heartbeat slow back down to its regular pace. You look kinda familiar. Have I seen you around here before? He asked, his eyes flickering briefly from the road to look at Roxas before flicking back. You're in my English, global, sociology, and chemistry classes. Also, I think we might have the same lunch period, Roxas reported dully. Wow, really? I wonder how I never noticed before. I tend to fly under the radar. Roxas said. No one wants to be caught dead talking to the gay kid. Well, things are going to change around here real soon, Roxy. You'll see, Axel said confidently. Yeah? I think you're too damn arrogant for your own good. Turn left at the light. You think you can just waltz in and announce you're gay and expect everyone to just accept it? Because they won't. People are just going to be giving you shit all the time, no matter what you do. Axel drummed his fingertips against the steering wheel and let out a deep breath. You're pretty pessimistic, aren't you? Yeah, I guess so. They were quiet for a good 10 minutes, but for Roxas's directions, as they made their way through the bad side of the town, affectionately known as Ghettoville. Roxas had to agree with the assessment. More than half the houses in the area were condemned, but people lived there anyway. Everyone was dirt poor, and Roxas had 6 cracks houses within 2 blocks of his house. But it was home, and it was all Roxas knew. Axel looked confident enough on the outside, humming along with the radio and keeping his eyes on the road, but every once in a while he'd shift in such a way that Roxas knew he was uncomfortable. So, how old are you? Roxas asked in an attempt to distract him a little. He had some sympathy for the redhead. After all, Ghettoville did take something to get used to, and it was likely Axel had never been driven through it before. I'll be 19 next month, he answered, chewing on his lip ring, something that Roxas was beginning to realize was a nervous habit. 19? Did you fail a grade or something? He asked bluntly before realizing that it might be rude. Axel let out a barking laugh and shook his head. No, I took senior year the first time around to go to Europe with my parents. Oh. Yeah, so Roxas had struggled through his junior year, and Axel had been touring Europe. Nice. Why, Roxy? Trying to find out if you're jailbait or not? He grinned teasingly. Fuck you. I turned 18 a month ago, he snapped. I just missed the cutoff by 3 days, so I had to start at school later. Well, that sucks. So you should have graduated last year then, huh? Yeah. Well, if it's any consolation, I'm glad you didn't, Axel said with a grin, because then I would have never met you and wouldn't have been able to say that my first guy kiss was an adorable blonde with a short fuse. Roxas let out a groan and stared out the window. He wasn't seriously going to go around telling people that, was he? Turn right on the next street. It's the last house before the alleyway. Axel followed his directions, pulling to a stop in front of Roxas's house. It was a small, 2-bedroom, 1-story house. It was in serious need of a fresh coat of paint, and the lawn was ugly and dead, much like the rest of the place. One of the windows was broken and had a plastic bag duct taped over it to keep the bugs and rain out. Thanks, Roxas said quietly, opening his door and trying to ignore the way Axel stared at his dropped jaw. Are you gonna be able to find your way back? Yeah, I think I'll be okay, Axel said quickly, realizing that he was staring. Okay then. Good luck with your friends and everything. He shouldered his backpack and slammed the door shut, walking up the crumbling walkway to his front door. He unlocked the door and slipped inside. He hadn't even gotten the door fully shut before he heard Axel gun it away from the house, probably regretting his Good Samaritan act. Though the house was ugly and destroyed on the outside, the inside was pretty nice considering the circumstances. Leon always made sure things were clean and nice. The living room consisted of a ratty pull-out couch and a television that only worked some of the time. The kitchen and dining room were basically the same thing, just a small table pushed against one wall for them to eat off in the corner of the kitchen. The bathroom was down the hall, directly across from Roxas's room, and it was a decent size, though the tiles on the floor were coming up and the shower curtain rod kept punching holes in the wall. Not to mention that the light was acting up, and a lot of the time the only light they could get was half of a flickering bulb. Roxas shared one of the bedrooms with his younger brother Sora, and the other bedroom belonged to Sora's twin Namine. They were 14 and had just started at the high school as freshmen in September. Leon slept on the couch at night. Leon was Roxas's older brother, 24 years old and raising 3 kids all by himself. After their parents died, he'd taken them in. It was hard because their only income came from Leon and Roxas's part-time job. Most of that money ended up going to pay the rent, but they made it by alright. They were alive and together, so that was the best they could hope for. Roxas gently shut the door behind him, but that Leon could hear anything if he put his mind to it. Roxas, he called before the blonde had even taken 3 steps. Yeah? He answered, sliding his bag off his shoulder and making his way back to the bedroom. He threw his bag on the bed, mattress on the floor, and turned to look at his brother, who was glowering at him from the doorway. Where the hell have you been? He hissed. I have to be to work in 20 minutes. I was depending on you to be home so you could watch Sora and Namine. I'll never make it in time now. I'm sorry, Leon. I got detention today. Detention? Leon interrupted. What did you do, Roxas? Don't tell me you're going to start acting up now. I just can't handle that. No, it was a fluke, a one-time thing. I was late to class and my teacher's a douche. He ignored Leon's glare. Anyways, I got a ride home so I could get here faster, but I guess... Leon's eyebrows shot up. Wait, you got a ride home? With who? He asked. It's just this guy named Axel. He offered it to me, so I took it. It's not important. Leon looked a bit more relaxed now. Well, it's good that you're making more friends. Sorry, Rox. Sometimes I forget that you're just a teenager. Roxas shrugged. It's no big deal, Leon. Hurry and leave. You'll be really late if you don't catch the next bus. Shit. You're right. I should be home somewhere around midnight, so don't do up the chain before you go to bed. Roxas waved a hand to show that he understood, and Leon left. Roxas let out a low sigh and crossed the hall to Namine's room. He knocked on the door, only hearing a quiet, "Come in!" He opened the door and peered in to find Namine on the floor and Sora spread out across her bed, both of them with textbooks in front of their faces. "Hey guys, how's it going?" he asked them. Sora grinned up at him. "Hey Roxas, it's going okay. I kinda hate biology class. It's terrible because we're supposed to learn about poly-something or others." "Polysaccharides," Namine supplied. "Yeah, those, and they suck because they're all made out of like a billion different things and we're supposed to memorize chemical equations. It's awful." Roxas laughed, remembering his own biology days. "Don't worry about it, Sora. The final exam is incredibly easy, and back in my day, they didn't even ask a thing about polysaccharides. I can't even remember what they are." Namine opened her mouth to explain, and Roxas held up a hand to silence her. "Oh, please spare me, Nami. Well, just make sure you two are okay. I'm gonna call Zexian, so if you need me, I'll be in the kitchen." They nodded, and he shut the door, making his way towards the kitchen. They were sweet kids and really easy to deal with. Roxas knew he was lucky with how they turned out, as compared to some of the monsters he'd met in his time. Roxas picked up the phone in the kitchen, twirling his fingers through the cord as he dialed the number. After 3 rings, a husky voice answered the phone, sounding annoyed at the mere prospect of being bothered. Hi, can I talk to Zexian? Phone!" A few minutes later, a quiet voice came over the line, calm and decisive. "Hello? Hey, Zex, it's me." Roxas spoke quickly. I don't know if it's a good time, Roxas. My dad just started his 3rd glass of whiskey. Zexian, weird shit happened in detention today. You want to come over? This way we'll both win." "Yeah, that might be a good idea. I'll be there in 20 minutes. "Okay, great. See you soon." He hung up the phone and retreated into the living room, collapsing on the ratty old couch to await his friend.